So here we are, folks. Saturday night we've got some 8-ball World Scotch doubles going on. The tournament's just started. It's a single elimination tournament, and we will find the brackets wherever they are. Right, there we go. We've got the 4 teams in. We've got Peg Leg and is that Files against Frankel and Wink at Me, and Wit and Popman are playing Rinnan, IR and Bav. It's a handicap tournament, so there's bound to be handicaps in it, and you can see that the top team, Peg Leg and Files, are getting the maximum 3 racks. Now it's only a race to 5, so Frankel and Wink at Me have got their work cut out in that match, so that's the one we're going to watch. A race to 5 and giving away 3 is quite a heavy handicap, so we'll go in and we'll watch that one, if we can get in the room, that is. Right, here we are. Now just one thing to check my little doodle thing's working. It's working fine. So Frankel at the table. So I suppose the only thing in Frankel and Wink at Me's favour is that they're not giving away money balls. It's a rack handicap they're giving, and they've won the first rack, so that's a good start. The question is whether Peg Leg and Files can actually make any progress. Now I don't think I've seen any of these two guys playing, so let's see where they're from. Files is from England, Frankel is from England as well, I assume. Wink at Me's Canadian, and Peg Leg is from Wales. Well, multicultural teams tonight. And I'm hoping to get all of this in. It is single elimination, but 8-ball matches can go on for quite a while, especially with a race to 5. It can get tactical, and it can end up a bit like chess at sometimes. So anyway, each team has a set of balls to go for, and they have to make that choice. And in this case, in this rack, Peg Leg and Files, they're on the stripes. Wink at Me and Frankel on the solids. And the biggest problem in this game, and the biggest test, is manoeuvring the cue ball to pick out your own set of balls. That's what's the difficulty about this game. It's a called shot game, of course. So Wink at Me calling the 1 ball, and that's a good shot. He's played it onto the 13 ball and has knocked it in. And this is where you have to use your imagination as well to be a shot maker in this game. That's a big advantage. So Frankel cutting the 7 in, and there's work to be done. Well, he's maybe going to try and split these balls over here. He's run into the 9. Well, his partner's on the 5. So, in fact, I think he's on the 2 as well. Can he squeeze that 2 down the rail? I think he can see enough of it to pot it. Now, with that shot, he's ran to the side rail. He's left his partner either the awkward cut on the 6 or the shot in the 5. Now, if he takes the 6, he's going to brush off that other ball, and he's going to end up going that way with the cue ball. Now, he needs to find this window here in that space to get to the 4 if he plays the 6. So he's going for the 5. And the same problem with this shot. Well, he's got a bit lucky. He collided there, but he's still got an open path to the 4, so it ended up being a good shot. He found the window. Now the problem is dealing with the 6 ball. And there is an angle there for Winkit Me to try and get into it. Well, he did his best, but no joy. Now Frankel is calling the bank, I think. I can't remember what pocket he chose there. I'm looking at the bank, it's a tight space, but there's room to get that ball in the middle pocket. So this rack pretty much hinges on this and getting on the 8, because if they don't, then their opponents have a chance to make inroads in their set of balls. Well, he's missed the 6. Now the other question that will be answered pretty quickly here is whether Files and Pegleg are going to use their heads, because now the 6 ball is wide open and they're pretty much looking to run out. Well, 9 balls open. And you've got to be careful in thinking about what you're doing here. You don't want to let your partner down, that's the first thing. Well, that's a sort of not a lot of ambition with that shot. And has he blocked off the path to that 15? Let's have a look. Well, he can get to it. But again, there's the problem. So straight away, we've got a couple of tentative players here. You've got to be playing the shot, and that's where Winkit Me and Frankel are going to have a big advantage. These two guys, you'd expect them to be too strong from what we've saw already. Pegleg and Files, they need to get a bit more confidence about their play when they come to the table. But again, it's all through experience. If you don't have that experience, you don't have that confidence and being able to control that cue ball. So all of a sudden, it's now 3-2. So Frankel and Winkit Me are not under any pressure from what we've seen in that rack there. And Winkit Me breaks off. And cue ball is scratched. So ball in hand for Pegleg. Now he's got to make a decision as to what the best set of balls are going to be. And to be honest with you, I don't think neither are, considering that, well, if you look at the stripes, the awkward one in some respects would be that one there, the 12, simply because the 3 balls blocking that pocket, and that's going to be a scratch as well. So untidy here. Yes, it is alternate break. Frankel and Winkit Me are just discussing the fact that their opponents have been given 3 racks, which it is a hefty handicap in a race to 5, but in all honesty, if I was Frankel and Winkle, I wouldn't be paying too much attention to that. I think they're going to get plenty of chances to run away with this match in the end. And they've got one straight away. And Frankel's made the choice. They're going for solids. Well, Files is saying, you know, they're getting a handicap because they're terrible. Well, everybody that starts this game plays it badly. I mean, you can bring what experience you have from real life to this game and vice versa, but if you've never played a lot of real life stuff, then this is a game where you can learn the shots and you can take them to the real table. So it's only through time and practice that you will gain that experience. So Wink at Me now has a shot in the 7, and he's looking for the next ball for his partner, which is probably going to be the 5, because the 2 ball is in an awkward place now. Well, his partner is on the 5, and he may well take that right now. When he's looking at the 1, now if they've made their mind up that the 5 ball is going to be the last ball before the 8 ball, then that would be fine. The problem has still got to be dealt with here. Now there is an angle in this 5. In potting the 5, you can maybe bring the cue ball back to about there to find that little gap to get on the 2 ball into the middle, and that's the dilemma they have, because it's not getting into any other pocket at this end of the table apart from the corner that the 1's just went in. And Franco has done his best to get his partner on the 2, albeit it's a difficult shot. But the other difficulty is choosing what pocket he wants to play this in and getting his partner still a shot on the 5. So and he's played that well. That's a good shot, plus the fact Franco's now sitting, well, it's not the easiest of 5 balls, but it's a good angle to come off the side rail and back across for the 8. Somewhere about there would do. Well, he's trying to hold it for the opposite pocket. He's managed to do that. Didn't think he could actually hold it, but it's going to be 3-all. Well, you don't get experience in tournaments in this game unless you play in them, so you've always got to start somewhere. So this time Files is breaking off, and it's a dry one again. And there's definitely going to have to be some sort of movement here with whatever ball set you choose, because there's the problem there. Everything else is fine. Now these 2 balls are blocking one another, and so one of them has to be moved. But that's something that Frankel and Wink at Me will be taking the first opportunity if they can to get something disturbed there once they've made their choice of what they're going for. Now it looks like the combo. Yeah, played the combo to try and not only open the 2 balls but pot the 2, but he's missed it. So we've still got an open table here, but this time Peg Leg has gone for the solids. Now any other day of the week these solids are sitting pretty damn good, especially if Files can see the 1 to pot it down the rail, because all the other solids are all out in the open. Yeah, we've definitely got a lining up deficiency there. So there is a vast lack of experience here with these 2. Well, I'm going to call them new guys. I don't know how long they've been around, but I've certainly not seen them play. and they're really up against it now. And likewise for Frankel and Wink at Me, all of their balls are in the open as well. So let's see if they can run out, because that's what's expected of them. And this time, Wink at Me can roll the 9 in. Ideally though, he would want to sort of stun the 9 in to leave a slight angle if he was going to do that, but it looks as if he's going to get rid of the 10 first. That's the only one that's in this bottom half of the table. If you pot the 9 and get the cue ball there, the problem is the cue ball's going to be playing a straight shot in that ball along the rail. And that's the only trouble ball that there is, that one there. Now's the chance to deal with it. In which case, when you look at the situation now, if he just rolls that ball in, he's going to leave his partner the 8 into the middle. And that would be the simplest shot. Just not got to roll through too far. I don't know whether he's hampered by that 2 ball. No, I think he's okay. Plenty of room. Just roll the 8 into the middle. And this for 4-3. Frankel has had the break passed to him by his partner. He's breaking off. And a solid has gone in. Something else went into the left middle. I didn't catch what it was. So it's still an open table, because a ball each from each set of balls has gone in. Well, if Wink at Me chooses the solids, there's one problem ball, which is that one. All the other stripes over here. I think again Wink at Me tried to get into that 4 ball. Frankel has a chance to do that. He can run into the balls at the top right end of the table, but he'd be fortunate if he moved the 4, so he's not even thinking about that right now. Well, he's tried it there. Well, he's opened it up. Didn't need to hit the 4, just needed to move the other obstructing ball, and that's taken care of that one. So now it's wide open for the run out. So the 5 ball, and then the 2 ball, and of course the 8 ball being down on this rail here means that the second last ball will be the 7. He's having a look at the cut and the 4 into the middle. Seems to me you'd be better playing the 2 and drawing out for the 4 into the middle, but seem quite happy to choose this one right now. So now the 2, then that yellow 1 ball into the left middle. Could even take it into the corner if it comes up too high. And then the 7 and the 8. And that will seal the match. So it's been an easy victory here for Wink at Me and Frankel. Little or no resistance from their opponents, but we know why. A new experience for these guys. So Frankel and Wink at Me, having given 3, have won the match 5 racks to 3. Straight away we're going to have a look at the bracket and see how that other match is doing. It probably isn't going as quickly as this one, and because Frankel and Wink at Me aren't going to be able to play anybody anyway until this other match is over, so we'll go straight in there. Get my little plug in. So, where are we in this match? We're at 2 racks to 1 for Rhino, as I'll call him, and Bav. I think Rhino's from Italy and Bab's from Germany. We'll get that confirmed. Let's have a quick look. Yep, and Bab from Germany. Wit is from Wales and Potman from England. And it's a scratch match this, there's no handicap. And this rack, Bab and Rhino, they're on the stripes. And the problem stripe ball is that one up there. For the simple reason it's awkward to get to, plus it only goes into one pocket. But Potman has his own problems to deal with here. Now, he can hit that 7 thin enough to cut it and pot it, and he should be running into the 1 as well. And he's missed the 7. But I think he's got away with it. He's blocked the pocket. I think that's the 10 ball, is it? Is it the 10? Yes, it is the 10 ball. So the 10 ball hanging over the pocket, and Wit on the solids. Good evening, Peg Leg. Yeah, that was a tough match. Up against 2 very experienced Virtual Pool 4 players, and as I said in the stream, you're only going to get experience by playing the game. More importantly, the other way to gain that experience is by watching how the other guys play it. I think it's all about using your head. What you might not have in potting ability and positional play, you can certainly still give yourself a chance if you play good, sensible shots and look for decent safeties as and when you can get them. Well, here's something ambitious here. I don't know what's happening here. The Rhino's called a 14 ball. Out with the jump stick. Plenty of room to get at it. Can he get over these 2 balls though? Need to get that cue jacked up. Oh, I thought the cue ball was going to rest on the rail. So it's a foul, and it's ball in hand for Wit and Potman. And they've just got these 2 balls to take now. Straight away, Wit doesn't want to leave this straight. He wants to come back to about here so that his partner can get the 3 and get the cue ball across for the 8. And he's gone dead straight, and that's the cardinal sin in that shot, is going dead straight, pretty much straight. There's a slight angle, but the problem here is Potman doesn't want to try and squeeze any more angle out of this shot. There's enough to get it there, but he daren't risk playing it with English, so now Wit has an awkward cut in the 8 ball. This is a tester. So this to tie the match. And then it goes. 2 ranks all. Again, a reminder, just a race to 5. It's single elimination. And it's Wit to break off in rack number 5. Potman passed the break to him. And it's dry. Oh, I've started yawning already. Well, I don't think this tournament's going to take that long anyway, so we should be able to get it all in. So, Rhino and Bav are on the stripes. Now, here's a choice. Let's have a look. That's a 12 into the middle. The 10 goes past the 11, so just a gentle roll in, not too hard. Well, he's left his partner no option now, but the what the hell ball's that? The 15 on the rail can't get to the 11, and the 10's sitting awkward, so could also get to that 13, which is that ball there, and cut it down the rail. They've got to get on the next ball off this shot. This is the important one. Well, it's going to be a long 11. Now, can Bav control this cue ball to get his partner on the 10? He really probably needs a little feather of right English here just to stop the cue ball leaking away to the left or coming up straight. If it comes up straight, it's going to end up going this way. So he's trying to play it dead weight and he's missed the 11. And you see, playing it dead weight means he's leaving his partner the long 10. So now control of the table goes to Potman and Wit. The cue ball's not sitting in a very nice place though, but it's in a good enough place, I think, to pot that 7 into the middle. Problem ball is that one, because the 6 ball of course doesn't have a pocket there, and it doesn't have a pocket there, and it is not going into the middle, so something has to give here, and Potman and Wit are going to have their work cut out with that 6 ball. Good evening. That Biggie 1990. Now, is that a VP4 player under a different name? Or is it just somebody that's accidentally stumbled across the stream? Anyway, back to the match. Wit and Potman on the solids. Now the 2 ball and the 1 ball are tied up in the middle of the table, so their work's even more difficult now. And where's the cue ball going? Well, now they're in a bit of a predicament here. The one ball cuts into the middle. He's going to brush off the 2. I don't know how thick he's going to hit that 2, but if he gets lucky here, he can brush off the 2. I wait to get my little line straighter than that. He can brush off the 2 and maybe run behind the 6. Maybe leave it into the corner. Well, I think get a rush of blood there. In the end, he's done neither, but at least he's improved the position of the 2. So now Rhino and Bav have their chance. The question is, has any of these balls got a pocket? Well, the 10 does. That will go past the 11, no problem. And he can run through, come off the rail. Not too hard though. So it's going to be the 11 and then the 13 on that right side of the rail. Oh, is it files? This is where it's confusing. Yeah, you were up against it in that first match. As I was saying in the stream, I don't know how long you guys have been playing Virtual Pool 4, but the 2 guys that you were playing, they're very experienced players. Couple of sharks. They'll rob you blind. But it's all about learning the game. I need to change the colour of that chat that I've got on my screen because I can hardly read that. Yeah, well, we all had to learn. You know, I've been playing Virtual Pool games since they came out, since it was Virtual Pool and Virtual Pool Hall. Oh, sorry, Virtual Pool, then it was Virtual Pool 2, then Virtual Pool Hall, and then Virtual Pool 3, and then finally Virtual Pool 4. So that's since 1995. I've been playing these Solaris games. Virtual Pool Snooker at one time as well. Sorry, Virtual Snooker, which was another game. So I've been at it for a number of years, and I'm still nowhere near as good as some of these guys. So where we are, we're at 2 racks all, and we've got Rhino and Bav down to the 8 ball, but Wit and Popman have got their chance to run out to pinch this rack. Wrong side of the 6, and also wrong side of the 1. That cue ball's running over towards the 8 ball. He's going to maybe have to play this with a bit of pace, because if he runs into the 8 ball, he needs enough pace to try and get the cue ball closer to the 2. Now this is riding your luck here. I don't know whether he can miss that 8 or not. It looks straight enough that the cue ball wants to go that way. And the question is whether it's going to glance there. Well, he's went for the 2 instead. Now, this is going to be the bank getting called, I think. And it looks a good bank. You've got to just pick your spot on the rail that you want to send that 8 to get it into the middle. Well, when I said I've been playing it for years and I'm not as good as a lot of these guys, I wasn't including you in that statement, Popman. Let's get rid of that little logo. Yeah, I need to change this chat text. I can't read the damn thing. I've got the chat on my screen, but I need to change it to yellow or something so I can read it. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, Peg Leg. So Wit and Potman have gone back into the league. Lead 3 racks to 2. Race to 5. And the break goes back to Bav and Rhino. And Rhino, I hope you like Rhino's little logo, because I made it for him earlier on today. I tried to get his Rhino name the same colour as the Virtual Pool 4 ball. That's probably about as close as I could get. Yeah, but make sure you tell them that you don't have to be as good as a lot of the guys in Virtual Pool 4 when you're a tactical genius like I am. Remember that one. I had a 61 break in snooker the day. And the other day I had a 61 and a 67. I'll tell you something, I'm coming back. I've still got it. I think I got my highest break the other day, 67. And considering I hardly ever play snooker, but I've been playing a lot more of it recently. So I might be back to my my old stomping ground. So we're into rack number 6. No, it was a 61 the other day and a 67 the other day and a 61 today. I was on for like, I think there was a couple of reds left. I should have had an 80 odd, and I had to play a little shot with a bit of stunning inside on it to get position and buggered up the black. Right, enough of my bullshit. We've got Potman and Wit on the stripes. And Bav and Rhino, Bav at the table on the solids. A tight 4 down the right rail. And this is not going to be very good for his chances because he was dead straight. But he got the cue ball back for the 3. And I suppose the good outcome of that shot is he's at least blocked one pocket, but the thing is that Potman and Wit don't need to be bothered with that pocket. Now, what can they do here? Well, they've got away with that, because that 9 ball will cut into the right middle. 13 ball goes into that corner pocket past the 7, but none of them are easy. These are tough. Yep, very tough. And the 13's not a blocker. So, once again, and this time's important because Rhino and Bav are trailing by 1. Well, I'll tell you something. You're making a big step. My advice is don't try and run before you've learned to walk, because you move on to that snooker table, you're going to be well out your depth. I started when I started Virtual Pool 3 years ago. I played I played about 4 or 5 months offline before I finally got myself online, and all I played was 9 ball, and I played that for about 18 months, and then I moved on to snooker. There's a lot of things you can try and do to help your game, but the most important thing I keep telling people about is to get your mouse dialed in. Get that dialed in first, because that, once you've got control of the mouse and you've got control of your pace of the cue ball, you can then take yourself to the next level and learn how the English works. Now, hopefully watching this stream and listening to some of my explanations, it might help, because the important thing is manoeuvring that cue ball and being able to do what you get it to do what you want it to do. Once you've learnt all that stuff, then you can then progress to the snooker table. That's a big jump. But the question is whether Sunday snooker will go ahead. Sunday snooker used to be, you know, there used to be a lot of interest in it in Virtual Pool 3. It's died a death in Virtual Pool 4. I can't play in it half the time anyway because it just goes on too late. If you get more people signing up for Sunday snooker, it can go on for 4 and 5 hours, as it used to do in the past. But anyway, 3-2 to Popman and Witt. They're on the stripes, and all the balls are there for the taking. And here's a toughie, and again this is going to take a bit of luck here to get position on that 13 ball. I think it's a 13. No, it's a 9. Ah, these are terrible. He's going to run it. If he gets this right and cuts that, I think it's a 12 ball, the purple stripe, into the right middle, and it hits that 8 ball full in the face, he could hope for the 9. It looks as if he's drawing off it though. Well, he's again straight into the 8 ball and would have hooked his partner on the 9. Now, does the 2 go through the gap? No, it doesn't. So there still might be a glimmer of hope for Popman and Witt in this rack, because this table is not easy. It's a tough cut in the 3, again because it's into a blind pocket. And yeah, you've got the 7 down this bottom left hand side of the table and the 8 over on the right rail. 2 ball in the middle of the table. So there's a bit of manoeuvring to be done here. Now you could actually nudge onto that 8. Well, I don't think there's any damage done here. He's missed the 8, missed the 3, and he's left nothing on. So they'll settle for that. Well, there's a safe place on the table here. If he just brushes off the 9 and runs over to that rail, or tries to get it straight, if he hits it thicker and goes that way, he's going to leave a tough 7. That's the only thing you could do here. I don't see any other safe option. He's trying to run to the right rail. He's covered the 2 balls and left the 7. It'd have been better if that cue ball could get closer to the 8, but either way, I don't think there was any way that you could prevent giving your opponents at least a shot at one of these balls, but the angle is good on the 7. Now, if you look at the potting angle of the 7 from where that cue ball is, it's there. So the cue ball is going to go there, and then it's all about pace back out here into the middle of the table. So not too hard would be the suggestion. And he's missed the 7. But once again, they've got away with it. Right, I'm just going to mess about here for a second or two, guys. Anybody that's watching, I'm just going to change this chat colour on the stream. I've got it superimposed onto my main screen, so I don't need to look at the second monitor, but the chat colour's crap because I can't bloody well read it. Hang on a sec. I don't think I'll affect the stream. I just need to choose a better colour. Oh, that's much better. That's night and day. Yeah, big improvement now. And Pegleg said, we knew we had lost once we saw the bracket. Frankel and Winketme are good players, and we knew that but it was for the experience of playing the top guys in VP4. Well, they're two very good players, no doubt about that. But Bav and Rhino, well, it's going to take a good one to get good in this 8. And it's got to be from the bottom end of the table. He has got to come back, and that looks perfect. That's just going to roll up nice. The 8 ball's off the rail, and this is not a tough 8. It's just about the connection. You get the connection right, and you don't send it into the rail, then it's going to drop in the pocket. That's good. And we've got a tie ball game, folks. 3 racks all. And remember, the winner of this match is going through to the final to play Wink at Me and Frankel. And with the greatest respect to Pegleg and Files, Bav and Rhino, I think they'll give a good account of themselves if they get to the final. As will Potman and Wit. I mean, either way, there'll be some sort of handicap, I would expect, but it certainly won't be 3 racks for either team. But there's a bit of pool to be played before that ever comes about. So the break's dry. Wit comes to the table with again a mess of balls here on the table. Blocking balls down at the bottom end here. These 3 stripe balls. And Wit's immediately chosen the stripes. Now, how do you get down to these 2 balls here? From where the cue ball's going to be. You've got 2 balls blocking the pocket. These are going to be Potman and Wit's balls. And then you've got to get to 11. Now, if you can find a gap between the 3 and the 4, you can get to the 13, or you can play a combo down the rail. So they've got multitude of choices here. But the first problem is the fact that the cue ball hasn't come low enough to play any of these 2 balls in the bottom rail here. And he can make the cut on that 13 right now. Now, I've said this in other 8 ball matches. You have to deal with problem balls when you get the chance. Now, Wit has the chance to take that 13 ball right now. And he's decided to play safe. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that provided Potman and Wit get back to the table, which of course they're going to, how soon are they going to deal with that 13 ball? And if it comes to it, they're going to have to get these 2 balls first and then leave the combo unless he gets the cut into the middle. So bear in mind that for later on in the rack and see what happens. Because there was an opportunity to deal with the 13 ball straight away there, and he decided on the safety. And that's ended up in not a bad position, because there's nothing really left on here for Potman and Wit. He's having to call a combo to try and get themselves off and running here. But they're in a strong position because of the blocking balls. The 6 ball for Rhino and Bav, that's going nowhere. I'll get a quick drink. And that's a good shot, well controlled. Now, can Wit pot that 10 with a gentle enough pace to leave that shot in the 13? The one over the right middle pocket. Well, if he nudges a 3, that's even better. Well, now you've got to take the 11 and have a little bit of draw on it and a little bit of spin to bring the cue ball over this side and up the table. You've got to deal with that ball in the middle. Did I call it the 13? Is it the bloody 11? Yes, it's the 11. Got to deal with that now. And he's got the spin, and he's gone left. And as long as he doesn't run in behind the 1, then at least they've got a shot. So the problem ball has been dealt with. And now the other problem is, this is, well, that 9 ball goes. It's just a gentle cut, and it'll go in off the jaw. And with any luck, he'll hit the 6, and he'll still be on the 14. If you look at it from directly behind it, it will go in off the jaw, but you've got to get it clean. Very gentle, just so the weight of the ball takes it into the pocket. Just a feather-like touch, this ball. And it's nudged to 14. But now everything's wide open up at that top end. Both of those balls pot. And it's now up to Rhino and Bav to try and take this rack out. Now they've got a chance, which, having said that, how ugly is this position they've been left in? He's got a tough 2 as an opener, and he's got no other shot. You've got to go for the 2. That 4 ball's tight. Got to be the 2 ball. Unless you call the combo in the 1. Good luck. That's what I would say if I was his partner. But he's played the wise choice. If he's covered the edge of that 9, and he's covered it enough, he's not hitting that 9 past the 3. And my eyes are getting really bad if he's able to cut that 9 in. No, he just feathered it. Well, and the cue ball hasn't hit a rail after hitting the object ball, so now, well, if it's, I don't think it's ball in hand in this game, is it? I can't remember. 8 ball world, whether it's ball in hand after a foul. Oh, it is. Right, we'll get rid of that 6. That's what you need to deal with straight away here. 6 ball is the problem ball. You have to get rid of that. Now, do you wait till later on? The 3 ball's the problem ball as well. The 7 ball's a blocker. It's not an easy run out. Because every time you look at these balls on this side, you can't make your mind up what one you're going to go for. Now that shot there, just to explain, Bath played his own ball onto one of the blocking balls over the pocket. It's not a foul in this game. Tactically it puts you in control of the table to a certain extent, but the visit ends and it goes to your opponents. So Witt now comes to the table with no shot in the 14. It's not potting, and Bav and Rhino are in prime position here. The 6 is now over the pocket, but Witt has played a wise shot. He's blocked the pocket with the 14, and now there's a bit of thought involved here for Bav, because the 6, I think, let's have a look, the 6 is not going into the pocket, it's going right on that point. So that has to be made. So this rack is up in the air yet here. Now, what's Rhino doing here? Well, he's played the 3 in off the 6. That's helped the situation. And the big mistake here is blocking yourself out in the 6. Got to get a sight on the 6. Whether it be off the 1 or the 4, it doesn't matter. Just get over to the right hand side and don't scratch. Oh, there's a disaster. And Rhino and Bab's chance might have went straight down into that pocket and gone. So, ball in hand for Popman. Well, just kill the cue ball and leave the 8 ball into the left middle. Just roll the 14 down into this bottom right hand corner. Seems simple enough. Probably even simpler to pot it in that top left hand corner. Well, he's chosen to roll through and he's left it pretty good. So this for 4-3. Well, the chance was there, but in the end, the scratch was Rhino and Bab's downfall in that rack. And are we going to go all the way? Well, we're about to find out. We're into rack number 8. Rhino breaking off. And the 15 ball has gone. Once again, these balls have ended up in a proper mess. Well, Rhino, you hit escape if you're listening, and then exactly what Popman has typed there. You'll see the option for partner shoots, and that allows you to change it to your partner. What you don't do is choose change turn, because that passes about the control to your opponents. So the choice has been made. Rhino on the solids. But some hard work ahead of them. All of these balls are blocked, apart from the 2, which is just right next to the cue ball. Everything else is blocked off. Now this is a little delicate shot. If you play the right shot here, you play this with a little right English, and that will just punch the cue ball into that space there. And that gets you on the 3, and that gets rid of the blocking ball. Well, he's nudged into the 7, and that's made it worse. The right shot was to play with right English to go into the gap and get rid of the 3 without moving anything else. So now the 7 and the 4 are out of the game. And that's what I mean about experience and knowing the shot to play. And once you take your game to the next level, then manoeuvring yourself around the table becomes a lot more easier. Okay, it always can, you can run into problems in any game, but most of the time you're going to get that cue ball to do what you want it to do. So now you've got the 9 tied up with the 7 and the 4, and Bab and Rhino are going to have to work hard. Well, the 6, which is the green ball, comes down into this pocket, and that's not the issue. If you play the 6, you'll get no way of splitting the 4 and the 7. So it's not a good situation at the moment. and there's no damage done. 3's still over the pocket, and there's not going to be a run out here for Wit and Potman because the 9 ball's tied up in the middle pocket as well on the right hand side. So we're going to have a little bit of tactical stuff going on pretty soon, I would think. And that 3 ball blocking the 13 ball, which is the orange stripe ball. That one there can only be potted from this side. And now would be a good time to nudge the 13 onto the 3 to get rid of that 3 ball. Once again, the control of the table passes over to Rhino and Bav. So no damage done again, but it's opened up that pocket. Now, if we think ahead here, the problem that Rhino's got, let's have a look, that 6 ball is good to go into that pocket. It's very tight, and the problem is he's hampered by the 14, but he could try and draw off it and nudge into these, but he's playing a safety. If that 14 ball wasn't there and he wasn't hampered, he could dig into the cue ball and make that shot. Well, same shot again here for Wit. Just nudge the 6 in using the 13 and it opens it up. And that then forces Bav and Rhino into moving the 4 and 7. I would pot that 13 onto the 6 right now and leave them snookered. Potman and Wit aren't thinking wisely here. You've got to play the 13 onto the 6 and block the 4 and the 7. Force them into kicking at that ball. This is what I'm saying about, you know, keeping yourself on your toes and looking at the lay of the table. And that is nasty. And that's a shot. That's the right shot. And what Wit and Potman are hoping here is that he does get a hit on this 4 or 7 and try to nudge the 9 out while he's fouled the 13. And this is just a little feather touch onto the 9. Well, I thought that was going to play there. He should be doing that. All the other balls are fine. You don't need to worry about them. Well, he's playing the snooker again. That's opened up the 13 a bit more. It's nudged it off the rail. This time, well, that's a good shot because he's played it dead weight. He's not done any damage and he's played a legal shot. He's hit his own ball. Now, it's still easy enough to get the snooker. You come off there and go back over that way. You're still hiding the cue ball. But he's decided to pot it. Now Wit has an angle here, but that 8 ball's in the way. And that's why he's refused to pot it. So this is where the tactics come into the game. This might be the crucial shot here. Bav was thinking about coming off the bottom rail. He's better probably doing what he's doing and just rolling up onto it again if he can get it at a dead weight. And the balls are running out here for Potman and Witt. They've only got 2 of their balls left as well. Sorry, 3. And the 9 balls locked up. We're going to get the same shot again, I would think. But sooner or later, something's going to give. Well, that's a lot heavier, but that's actually finished perfect. Well, now, Witt has a choice, because the combo is on. Is it? Or is that right on the point? No, the combo's on. And Witt's decided against it. You know, he could have potted that 9 using the 4. It would have allowed control to pass their opponents, but the 7 ball's doing nothing. It would have been perfectly safe. Well, that almost went wrong. No, it has gone wrong, because Potman can pot the 9. So that's a mistake. He can get to the 9 to pot it, surely. Let's have a look. Oh, he can feather that in. Surely can just touch it and it'll drop in. Well, maybe he thinks it doesn't, but I think it does. If you just roll up to it and drop on it, it pops in. You've got a shot in the 14. I know he's spending a lot of time thinking about it and not doing much about it. And it might be the best chance I've got right now to actually get rid of that 9. Just a little soft bit of spin would take care of it. Well, he's refused it. Well, the shot I would play here is just simply cut that 7 across there and cue ball up there somewhere. It leaves a shot in the 13. And if Potman's refused that shot in the 9, then unless they get really good position on it, they're never going to get a shot on it. Oh, get rid of that. Well, that's another good shot. A good thinking man shot, because he's opened up the pocket, he's conceded the 9 ball, but the 8 ball's tied up now with the 4. So that's the safety net for Bav and Rhino. The 9 ball goes down. And the other thing is, Potman is dead straight in the 13, so he can't get to the 8. He can't nudge it out. He can't even pinch an angle here. He would miss the 13. But it's up to Potman to try and get his partner some sort of shot on the 13. They can get the cue ball to split this 8. And that is a shot now, and he's a lot of right English. Cue ball to pot that. Cue ball goes to the rail, and the right English punches it into the 8 and 4. And you can see that Witt is playing it with right English on that point of the cue ball. Let's see if he gets it. And that's excellent. Exactly what the doctor ordered. and they've got a shot in the 8 and this for the match. Well, that ended up being a very good rack and an insight into the tactical thinking of these guys. But in the end, Wit and Popman have come through. They've beaten Bav and Rhino by 5 racks to 3. So now we have a final, folks. And the final's between Frankel and Wink at Me and Wit and Popman. This should be a good final. Wit and Popman, they're no mugs. They're going to give Frankel and Wink at Me a game. It remains to be seen what sort of handicap there's going to be. So let's jump into the room. Now these other guys might be just taking a bathroom break or getting a drink before they join up with the room. They've got 5 minutes to get into the room. They'll get an audible alert in the lobby to remind them. And I'll get a good drink as well while I'm at it. And once the players have all joined the room, we'll see what the handicap's going to be. It's still a race to 5, the final. Let's have a look at the money. There won't be much money in this. There's 480 virtual dollars, V-dollars, to be split between the winners. And all players will be in a minute or two. Now, a quick reminder for anybody watching, if you're interested, there's a big match coming up, and I'm going to be streaming it. I'll be doing a live stream. It's going to be, I think it's a round 3 match in the 8-ball bar table world championships, the virtual world championships that is. And that match is going to be played on Tuesday night, 1900 British Summer Time, and that is 1400 Eastern Standard Time, and that will be 11 AM Pacific Time. And it's a match between Larry and Bedhead, 2 very experienced players. Race to 11 in the double elimination tournament, and that's on Tuesday. Well, it'll be Tuesday morning, afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And I will certainly be streaming it. Oh, you're welcome. As I always say, the main reason that I do these streams, well, there's a few reasons. Hopefully, if some of the guys that have played in some of my streams, some of the sort of less experienced guys watch and maybe take in where they went wrong, that's where they can learn. And the other reason is to get as many matches archived onto, well, in this case it's going to be YouTube, although I'm streaming on Twitch. I upload the matches to YouTube since they banned me from live streaming, or blocked me from doing it, and we'll get something where you can look back in years to come, provided YouTube don't go down the Swanee. You'll be able to watch some matches, see yourself playing when you maybe first started the game, because who knows how long Virtual Pool 4 will be around. You never know. Anyway, this final, Team 2 are Popman and Wit. They're getting 1 rack, so they're up 1-0, and they're at the table. They're on the stripes. Well, the one thing I would say, Bav, when I started playing Virtual Pool 4, um, I mean, I had already been playing snooker in real life for a number of years, um, so I had a slight advantage there that I had uh, I had learnt stuff in snooker that I could bring into this game, um, and that's what you do. If you play pool in real life, then you bring what you've learned in real life to this game. If that isn't the case, then the best advice is to watch the best players, watch what they're doing, get the camera behind their cue stick, watch where they're actually pointing the cue stick on the cue ball, and seeing how they get the cue ball to move, because that's what you have to learn. That's the most important thing, is learning how to manoeuvre the cue ball, getting it to go offline and get it into certain areas. It's the toughest part of the game, but once you master it or get a general good control of it, then your game improves leaps and bounds. You become much more confident in approaching a set of balls when you see them on the table, and in knowing that you're able to manoeuvre the cue ball. But you have to add in the other important factor. The other important factor is spending time, and I mean a lot of time, working on your mouse control, working on that pace, working on the sensitivity of it, because the more control you have over that, the better and confident control you have over shots when you play them. If the cue ball's running too hard, or you're hitting shots too hard all the time, then that is the thing you need to focus on. Get the best setup you can, and that will give you more confidence and control when you're playing a shot. Because that's one thing that the best guys in this game have. They've got their mouse set up right to where they're confident in playing shots and been able to do all of the things I've just talked about. But one thing, you're never going to do that overnight. I mean, you know, like Sir Larry and myself and a lot of other guys have all played this game for 15 years at least. So there's a lifetime of learning in this game. But it's down to the individual player and how much they want to learn. I've said this before as well, umpteen times in the stream. There's guys who come on here just to bang balls about. Now that's fine if you just want to do that. It's not going to win you many games, and it's not going to win you many tournaments. If you take it to the next level, you'll be surprised how much more you enjoy the game. Because nobody likes to lose, and you're going to lose. No matter how good you are, you're going to lose. But a lot more enjoyment to be had in success and improvement. So it looks like Frankel and Wink at Me are in the game. They've won the first rack and have now got rid of that deficit. We're at 1-1. Well, the 9 threatened to go in. The 7 thought about it, rolling down the rail. But in the end, nothing's gone down. Potman and Witt. Well, they've got a choice of potting the 9 ball. Certainly, he can pot the 3. And the problem ball is the 4 ball. If they decide in the solids, the 4 ball's married against the, I think it's a 10 ball. Let's have a quick look and see how that 4 ball looks. Well, the 4 ball goes into that corner there, but it's about getting on it. But the choice has been made. Witt and Potman are on the solids. I don't think Potman can see enough of that 4 to cut it. Once again, there's another problem. There's not really an adjacent ball of their own set of balls near that 4 ball where they can get to the 4 to move it or do something like that. So they're just taking care of what's out in the open, but sooner or later the 4 ball, something has to be done with it. Oh, that nudge. Oh, that's worked out perfect, has it? Oh, that's unlucky. That is extremely unlucky. I thought he was sitting perfect on the 4. He's blocked out and he's digging to take the jump shot. Where's the cue ball going? Oh, that's a good shot. That's an excellent jump. And what's more, he just needs to baby this 7 ball in. Just pocket weight. And the cue ball will finish on the rail on the 8 ball. And the 7 is off the rail, so this isn't difficult. Just get the weight right, not too hard. And that's perfect. So that's a good rack to win there. And that was all down to that excellent jump shot. And that gives Potman and Witt a 1 rack lead. Potman breaking off rack number 3. Well, it is number 3, but bear in mind it was a handicap to start with. Well, these balls are very good here. There is room to manoeuvre. The only problem solids is maybe the 1, but it's going into that pocket. There's a chance of a run out here. And Frankel doing what everybody should do is study the table, look at the lay of the balls, visualise your shot and think about what you're doing. You don't just rush into potting the first ball. You see, you have to plan ahead and what the best choice of action is going to be for you. So the decision has been made. The stripe has gone down. The 15 goes past the 6 into this corner. So he's going to take that one. And there's still the problem of the 14, and that's going to be taken straight away here. You've got the chance, pot the 9, just drop the cue ball through, and you get rid of the 14 into there. Just pocket weight. It just got there and no more, but that's nicely on the 14. And that takes away any problem down at this bottom end of the table where we're looking from, because all the other business is up at the top end. Now Franco can play. Well, he's got the choice. I mean, he can run through to leave his partner in the 12 that way. He could pot the 11 and stun across and do the same thing. So he has a choice. Well, what the hell did he play there? That was a weird shot there by Franco. He played the bank, I presume. He didn't call it, or if he did, I never seen it. And they might have just blown their chances there. It was a strange choice of shot. He had two ways to get on that ball there. That was the issue, getting on that ball. And he could have played the stun and stunned across it, and he could have played the other one where he just rolled through, but strange that he went the other way. Maybe not comfortable with playing those shots. I'm not confident enough tonight. And it might work against him if Potman and Witt can do the business here. Once again, we've got this problem ball situation. And the angle is there. You've got to get rid of the 5 now, because the 8's up at that end of the table. You're not working down here. You've got to deal with that one first. Well, that's now made it slightly awkward. It's even more awkward from the fact that he's got no shot in the 7 and he can't see the 1. So the bank's going to be called. So the bank into the middle pocket in the bottom of the screen, and he's hit that far too hard. Didn't give it a chance to make the angle, but they've got away with it. Wink at Me has got no shot, I don't think. Let's have a look. Or does that go? Oh, that's tight. That is very tight past that 11 ball. Too tight, to be honest with you. But that's an excellent shot. There was no room for manoeuvre at all. Now, what does Franco do? Entirely the wrong angle in the 11. It's a big draw around the table here. Try and get that cue ball running. If he's going to try and get his partner up for that ball there, because that's their last ball before the 8. And it's ended up a disaster as well. The scratch. So Witt and Potman have a chance to nail this rack for a 2-rack lead. So it's 2 big mistakes in this rack from Franco, and he's the strongest player out of the whole bunch. He's letting his partner down right now. Well, I think with the angle that he's got in the 4 here, he has to take that 2 into the left middle first. The angle in the 4 isn't great to get good position back up on the 2. So there's going to have to be a good shot on the 4, and it looks good. It's a good angle. You pot the 4 and a little draw, but it might go near that middle pocket. You've got to be careful. The actual potting angle in the 4, the cue ball wants to go that way, and it might go near that middle pocket. And he's avoided it. Just a little stunny draw. And it's a pretty straight in 8 for the 2-rack lead. So now we're going to see what Wink at Me and Frankel are made of. Trailing 3-1 and got all the work to do now. Well, certainly a couple of balls, and I think there were stripes. Well, there's a 7 going in as well. Now, of course, with it being alternate break, Frankel broke off there. So this is it is a chance, albeit not a great chance, because once again the balls are not sitting perfect. It looks like the decision's been made on the stripes. And maybe a chance here to try and nudge into that 12, because that one's awkward. That one there. I mean, there's a little gap between the 4 and the 3. And Frankel has overspun that. He's left his partner nothing. Well, that was a good shot. And Frankel, I think, though, is too straight in this 11 ball, but he can just stun it in and try and leave his partner on that ball into that corner, because then he'd be on the 8, and the 8's down this end anyway. And he's played that shot well, but he's missed the 11. Oh dear. Well, the mistakes are coming left, right and centre here for Frankel. He got the first part of the shot right, but didn't get the main objective there, and that was potting the 11. But it's come to the rescue, because the 8 is blocked in the top right. And if they're going to open up the chance of the run out, they need to get rid of this too. Got to get that done. The question is how do they get there? So getting rid of the 2 would open the 8 ball into the top left hand corner. And there's a chance. Well, how's that 1 ball looking? There's too much angle. This is awkward. And just deciding on the safety, and would you believe it, he's found a gap. How would I think that would manage to end up like that? This can be called as a combo, the 12 onto the 11. So in it goes. Where's the 12 ball going to end up though? Well, that's a very thin cut, but it does go. And the cue ball, provided it misses the 5, can go around the table and get up here for the 8. The angle's there to do it. He's got to just ride his luck to miss this 5 ball. And that's, well, that's better than nothing. His partner can see the 8, but the pressure is stacked on this 8 ball. Trailing 3-1. It's got to go. And that's a good shot. So Wink at Me rescues the situation. And Frankel and Wink at Me are trailing by just the 1. The break goes back to Potman. Oh, good evening, Simon. I can't remember whether this chat's got timestamps on it, and yes, it does. Just give me a second, guys. We're back in 2 seconds. Right, I'll worry about that. I'll worry about that later on. Yeah, I'm using XSplit Gamecaster tonight, so I can use my little doodle thing, you know, for the overlay there. But the overlay with all the gimmicky stuff, that's on Broadcaster, which I'll use for the 8-ball tournament. The 8-ball bar table thing. I prefer this for doodling on the screen. I can't do that with Broadcaster. If they had exactly the same feature in Broadcaster that worked on the main screen, that would be fine, but you can't do it. Really, Broadcaster, all it does is give you more of a presentation feel to it, when you can add in all the little funny stuff if you want, or all the transitional stuff, like changing from one scene to another. That's really the advantage of having those sort of things. There's a lot more you can do with it, but at the end of the day, the most important thing I like is the on-screen stuff that I can do with Gamecaster. But I've got the chat showing just on my main monitor, so I don't need to look at the second monitor, but I've got it so that that you guys don't have to read the chat on the screen. Plus I've made it transparent as well, which I didn't do the other night there when I just activated it. But anyway, Wink at Me and Franco trailing 3-2. Well, that's gone in an extremely awkward place. But just a little bump in and then off the end rail and the side rail and up high enough for the 8. Well, he's left it a wee bit short. This is a wee dinky nervy tester, this 8 ball, to tie the match at 3 racks all. So this might go all the way back to wink at me. So that is like a rack against the head there. Wink at me and Franco won the rack, plus are now breaking in the next rack. And it's come up dry. Seven ball stuck in the left side rail by the middle pocket. Well, Witt has decided to go for the solids and he's not helped the situation a lot. 7 balls now married up with a 5 on the left rail. Now I would suggest that this table is lying pretty good for Frankel and Wink at Me, apart from the fact that their their stripe is blocked by the 2. Well, I'd be playing some other sort of shot. Not that there's that many shots on, but what Potman's about to do is about to try and pot the 2 as a combo. And if it doesn't go in and it comes away for that pocket, Frankel and Wink at Me are going to have a good chance to run out here. So there's a lot at stake in playing this shot right now. And he's missed the 2 and he's opened the pocket. The 14 can be cut. Let's look at the 8 ball. And the 8 ball goes past the 6. Now, when you look at those balls up the top end of the table, there's a little problem here with the 9 and the 10. And it looks, the combo would be a lot easier to play if you were here, but not if you're here. Well, seems to me the shot here would be to pot the 10 and leave an angle on the 11. And he's got the angle, and the only problem now is that he's nudged the 9 onto the 6. Now, has he got himself good on this 9? Can he pot that 9 clean? It's difficult to say. But once again, where Wink at Me's sitting at the moment might be the best chance to do anything with that 9. But can he make that angle without fouling the 6 ball? It's very doubtful. Now at that angle it's tough, but at this angle it might be easier. Or you know, somewhere like there. or there. That's perfect. But look at the 8. We looked at it earlier. The 8 does go. Oh, and that's worked out. Pinpoint perfect. He's hampered by the 4. But it does go. So this to take the lead. And no problem. And that was a good run out. Now, like I said earlier, if you remember earlier in the rack, Potman was left with not really a lot of options at this side of the table, and the 2 ball was over the corner here, and he tried to play the combo in the 2, but that was a safety net, that 2 ball, and he chose to open it up, tried to play the combo, missed the combo, and cleared the pocket, and that was our last shot in the rack. That's why thinking ahead and thinking about the possibilities, you've got to make important decisions, and that was a risky shot by Potman. It was like a 2 out of 10 shot, that long combo, and they paid the price big time. And it's now 4-3 to Frankel and Winkett Meat, 1 away from winning tonight's 8-ball World Scotch Doubles tourney. Frankel's made the choice. 7-ball has gone in. Now this mess of balls up here, well, that's why he took the solids, because they're all messed up. The 8-ball, excuse me, doesn't go into that corner, so that is the problem ball for the time being. Now, if you're looking at what the last ball might be to go on that 8, it could either be the 1 or it could be the 6. If you pot the 6 and run through, you've got the 8 that way. If you pot the 1 and run through, you've got the 8 in here. This is how you have to be thinking. It's how you get to that 8-ball. Well, now Frankel's got no choice at all. He's blocked out in the 2 and the 6. He's going to have to take the 1. And immediately it narrows it down to the 6-ball. And the 6-ball's going to have to go now. Unless Winkett Me wants to take a tough cut in the 2. But how do you get on that 8? It's Hobson's choice. I don't think I've got any option other than to pot the 6. Well, this is tough from the fact that he's queuing over that ball to get to the 2, but the path the cue ball is going is sort of down this direction. It might go there. It's hard to say looking at it. He's gone straight through. He's missed the 2 though. And that was always likely to happen. It was so tough. But he actually got his partner on the 8. So now Witt and Potman have got control, and they can make things awkward now. Oh dear. Bedtime coming up. Well, we definitely don't have long to go, so I'll be in bed soon enough. Well, the hit in the 2 was made. That was a very good effort. Now Potman has got to be thinking here. He's got to cover that 2. Well, that cue ball isn't close enough to the 14. Frankel's going to be out of the jump tick straight away to nudge this 2 in. The only problem there is, though, he's not going to be able to get his partner on the 8 ball. His partner's going to be left to deal with that 8 ball in a second or 2. Now, it's going to be difficult for him to get anything on that 8. Well, he's going to call the bank, so you've got to judge the point at where you hit that 8 to send it to the rail to make that bank there. So you've got to hit that fine point to get it to there, just on the diamond more or less, and get it into the middle pocket. Difficult to judge, but this is for the tournament. So now it's wide open and it's all or nothing. We'll get these bloody menus out of the way, that's better. Now, can Witt and Potman run out to square the match and take us to a final rack decider? And all that Frankel and Wink at Me can do is just sit and wait. See whether one of these 2 guys blinks first. Well, I'm not playing in this match, but that guy Snakes is beginning to nip my head. A lot of chat by other people in the room is a bit distracting, as opposed to just the 2 players communicating with one another. You don't need a heckler in the room. But of course, if I had used my common sense and thought about it, I could just do this. Where is he? Is he still there? Let's just shut this guy up. That's him taken care of. We're at a crucial point in the match. 4 balls left, not including the 8 ball, that Potman and Witt have to get rid of. And the last ball ideally would be the 13, but now they're going to be forced into taking it, I think, because the other 2 balls aren't inviting too much pressure on to be having to take them. But got to get good in one of them. And it's no man's land. Well, what does Potman do here? There's not a lot of options to try and hide this cue ball. It's all or nothing on this shot. Now, the one option I can see for him is that if he gets the pot and the cut and doesn't get to the pocket, or it doesn't go in, that cue ball is coming back out this way. There's going to be no shot in the 8 for Frankel and Wink at Me. And he's made a complete hash of it and scratched. That's a disaster and a half. That is all over now. Got it all wrong, hit it into the middle pocket. But anyway, this tournament is over. Wink at Me and Frankel gifted the final rack, and they win the final by 5 racks to 3, and they share $480. Well, that's our 8-ball world tournament over, folks. As I say, a reminder again, we're going to have that 8-ball bar table world championship match on Tuesday at 1900 British Standard Summer Time, and that will be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be 11 a.m. Pacific. It's between Larry and Bedhead, race to 11 in the third round, and I'll have that live streamed for you if you want to join the chat. And with that, folks, I'm going to bid you good night. Take care, and we will see you again soon. And thanks for joining the stream.